Welcome to the High Sensory Mothers podcast with Karen Hunt, a supportive space dedicated to mothers with high sensory intelligence. Each week, I'll share insights from my own experiences and those of my clients, alongside empowering conversations with inspiring guests who offer practical wisdom and guidance. Together, we'll help you embrace your sensitivity so you can thrive, not just in motherhood, but in your life and business too. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the High Sensory Mothers podcast with me, Karen Hunt. So today I'd like to talk about this idea of becoming rather than proving. So there's definitely a tension I find between this inner soul-led journey that we're on, which is the becoming who we were always meant to be, getting back to that authentic self, living those dreams, those desires that we have for our own lives and for those around us and for the world in general. And that tension with proving, the external, often fear-based pursuit that we can find ourselves in throughout our lives, where we're trying to prove who we are. We're trying to demonstrate it to other people on the outside, which obviously can come because we may have grown up with the messaging that we're not enough, or that we're too much, or that we're wrong or broken in some way because we're sensitive. And it's a real tightrope to walk along, because it's important that we acknowledge our inner selves and also what we want in the outside world. And sometimes it can be quite hard to make that discernment between what's really mine and what have I absorbed from others, or what's mine intrinsically, truly, authentically, what's mine that comes from a greater awareness of who I am, not just my little self, but my higher self. And then with the external environment that we've grown with, where we're perhaps trying to get that external validation from others, whether that's family members or whether that's society in general, whether we're trying to adhere to our gender roles or expectations for what it looks like to be a good mother or a good wife or a good businesswoman or any other role that you have in your life. So what I find is, when you're struggling a little bit to discern what's going on within you, let's look at the energy of it. That's really the key, I find. It's how does it feel? What does the energy feel like when you're proving? So if you're in that energy of trying to prove yourself, you're perhaps constantly striving for this external validation that we've talked about. It could feel like you're constantly trying to chase this end goal, this finish line. When you get there, then everything will be okay. You'll be seen, you'll be accepted, you'll be celebrated. But every time you get close to that finish line, it feels like it keeps moving. And if within that journey you get to that stage of burnout or resentment, then that's definitely a clear indicator that you are in that energy of trying to prove yourself. So some of the common patterns that we have as HSPs when we're in this type of energy is when we're in people-pleasing mode, when we are overachieving, and when we're comparing ourselves to others. So if you notice yourself in those patterns of behavior, then take a closer look at your energy and go inwards to see what's happening there with you. You could journal on this question. Where am I still trying to prove? What is it that I'm trying to prove? Or it might be that you want to focus on who is it that I'm trying to be, and where did that come from? It might be very strong in you if you had a certain role model or a parent perhaps who encouraged you in a certain direction. And it might take some self-reflection to see whether or not that really is you and what you want to do, or whether it's coming from the need to please them or to make them proud. So now let's have a look at what it feels like when we're in the energy of becoming. So there's a shift in our energy, there's a softening, there's a more open, expansive, light feeling when we surrender into the trust and the allowing of ourselves to be. And there's a much deeper level of commitment to being in alignment rather than achieving. So, of course, it's important still to have goals that you want to achieve, but it's more that you are better at realigning yourself and making those small adjustments so that you are aligned, because sometimes the goalpost does change, and that's okay. If it feels wrong for you to keep going in a certain direction and you need to course correct, then choosing that alignment over just pig-headedly, just stubbornly going for it because you said you would, then that's a really useful way to look at it. And I know personally, I've made, I was going to say I've made the mistakes, but I don't like looking at it like that now. I prefer to reframe as something that I've learned along the way, that I wanted to be true to my word. So I wanted to be in integrity. And so sometimes I would stick to my word to be in integrity with others, even when my intuition was telling me something different, that actually this isn't going to serve me, and to change course. And I've had some experiences like that. And I was confused at the time because I had these two very important things in my being that I wanted to listen to. Doing what I said I was going to do, which felt like I was being in integrity, but then also listening to my intuition, my gut feeling. When things were screaming at me, I was still unsure whether or not I should listen to that or whether I should just keep doing what I said I was going to do. So I was described as being stubborn as a child. So I think, you know, there is a positive way of looking at that determination, and to be in integrity, to do what you said you're going to do. But the thing that I learned a bit later on is that, yes, and sometimes you need to change what you said to continue being in integrity, because we are constantly changing and adapting. Therefore, if something shifts outside of myself, then I'm going to get that message from the universe that something has shifted, and therefore I also need to shift. And I think if we can tell the people that we've promised things to, or that we said we would do something, and then it's no longer in alignment with us, then to be in integrity, we need to communicate that to them. And then we're both honoring ourselves and our word at the same time. So because of that, this shift of energy, this different feeling that we have when we're in a more becoming energy rather than a proving energy. We must follow our own natural timeline and not external timelines. And there's a caveat here because, again, we've got to always be aware and look at ourselves and be responsible and not use this as an excuse for not doing something, but rather this is really about the fine-tuning of that. So I'm not saying set a goal and then, I don't really feel like doing it today, so I'm not going to. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not making excuses for not achieving things. It's being really clear and in alignment with yourself and understanding what your purpose is, how you best operate, and adjust as you go along by constantly looking within yourself again, however you do that, in whichever ways you do that, because there are going to be multiple ways you can do that. Ultimately, this energy helps you feel more expansive and light and inspired, in flow. You're really focused on growing rather than the outcomes that you get. The outcomes that you will receive can be this vision in the future, and it's something that you want to grow towards and walk towards, but it's important that you really enjoy that journey. So imagine there's this mountain you want to climb and you're really excited because you want to get to the top of this mountain, but at the same time your goal isn't just to get to that top. The goal isn't just enjoying the view. The goal is enjoying the walk, the hike, the climb to get there, enjoying it, enjoy who you go with, be prepared, enjoy stopping and having a rest and enjoying the view, enjoying the things you find on the trail on the way, enjoy the company that you're with, just enjoy the entire process. And when you get to the top of the mountain, it might be a little more enjoyable than the rest of it, but it's just another step. It's just the icing on the cake. Actually, I wouldn't even call it the icing on the cake. Let's say you've got a cake, you've got the icing, you've got some cherries on top, you've got some little sprinkles on top. And so the view is like the little sprinkles on top, you know, because you could get to the top of that mountain and the clouds could cover that sunrise or that sunset that you were looking forward to seeing. It could be a foggy day. You don't actually get to see the vastness that you would be able to see on a clear day, but that doesn't matter so much. It's the journey of getting there. It's the achievement of feeling good about the fact that you set out to achieve this purpose, and you make your way there and you get there and you enjoy the whole thing. So that's more the energy to approach this that we're looking for. So let's just have a think about the different reflections that you might be able to make after listening to this. Have a look at where in your life you are in that energy of proving. Is it specific people that you're trying to prove something to? Is it people that have always had this vision for you and that you're trying to prove that you are worthy of that vision? What exactly is going on for you if you're in this energy of proving? Look at your people-pleasing tendencies. Where does that happen? When does it happen? Is there something about not being fully resourced that makes you in that energy? The overachieving. Are you trying to prove that you're good enough? Is it an old story that you're telling yourself that actually with a bit of reflection and reframing, you could eliminate that quite quickly? Do you find yourself comparing yourself to others? There's a whole topic we could go into about social media, because I think it just ramped up this comparison that we can make with other people. And the most useful thing I can say, I think, is that instead of comparing yourself to other people, just compare yourself to you. Compare yourself to how you were last week or last year or 10 years ago, whatever it is that you're looking at. Just compare your own journey. And if you don't like what you see, that's okay, because you have the journey ahead of you too. So you can address that. I will always say it's great to have a big vision of where you want to go. And it might just be that you don't know what that is yet. So if you don't know what that is, that's absolutely fine. Make that your big vision, to discover, uncover what it is that you really want to do, how you really want to live your life. So make that your big vision and take a step towards that. Journal on that. Reach out to a friend or a coach. You can reach out to book a call with me and we can have a look at it. And perhaps you might want to think about, what would it feel like to live without this pressure to prove yourself in whichever way you find yourself doing at the moment? Just imagine, what would it feel like if I didn't experience this need to prove myself? How would I feel? Who would I be? I'd encourage you to, if it's safe, close your eyes now and just feel that. Feel your feet on the ground. Perhaps put your hand over your heart and breathe into your heart space and feel, what would that feel like not to have to prove myself? Who would I be? Who am I without the need to prove? What does it feel like to be in a different energy, to drop all those roles, those expectations, and just be me? And then perhaps journal on that, see what comes up for you. So just a few simple practices for you to help shift from this proving energy to this becoming energy. The main thing is being aware of it. And please don't beat yourself up when you notice. Celebrate when you notice, because that's the first step. When you notice it, just pause, breathe, ground, whichever way works for you. That's a really important thing that you can do, and that will shift you out of that proving energy just for a moment. It may not help you get straight into becoming energy. It takes a lot more practice to do that, but that's okay. We first have to break this pattern of this need to prove ourselves. And with the whole idea of this self-awareness, listen to your intuition. Notice when something comes up. Really listen to that and start trying to trust it. You can ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for someone else's approval, or am I doing it because this is what I truly want? And I know that there's a lot of things that we feel that we have to do because, life, family, children, work. I totally get that. So again, this isn't about everything trying to be perfect. You don't have to have everything perfect to do this. This is the practice. This is the work. It is a lifelong journey, and it doesn't follow a straight path. I see it as a spiral. It's a spiral of us coming home to ourselves and uncovering who we are underneath all these layers that out of necessity have built up around us. And now at this point of being a mother as well, there's so many more responsibilities in our life, in the culture that we live in. We have a lot on our plates, and this isn't easy work, and it's not quick work. It's deep work, but it can be quite light and short in terms of one small step, one small practice at a time. So please be kind and please be gentle with yourself and just allow yourself to unfold. Allow yourself to spend more time in the energy of becoming and notice when you're in that energy of proving. You are enough and your becoming is enough. So just let your life unfold in its own perfect timing. It's all good. I hope that was useful. Take care of yourself. Be kind, be gentle to yourself and others. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now. Enjoyed today's episode? If you haven't already, I'd be so grateful if you could subscribe and leave a quick review. It really does help other high sensory mothers discover this podcast. To stay connected, visit my website where you can sign up to receive episode updates straight to your inbox. Or book a free call if you're curious about working together. Thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to next time when I'll share more insights on embracing your high sensory gifts.